Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are going to be, doing a deep dive into the world of AI, and specifically, how to make it work for you no matter what your organization does.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
We're looking at this book called AI Integration and Management Lifecycle SOP by Brian Matambo.
Now, I know that title sounds maybe a bit technical,
Yeah.
but trust me, this book, it's a gold mine, even if you aren't a tech expert.
It is. It really is. And, Brian's background is really fascinating.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah. He's worked with all sorts of organizations from, small startups all the way to global companies.
And churches in Zambia. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about range.
Yeah, exactly. Churches in Zambia, global enterprises, he's done it all. And I think that's actually what gives him this amazing ability to just explain really complex stuff in a way that just clicks,
Makes it really accessible.
Yeah, totally.
And, what I really appreciated was this structured approach that he lays out. It's called the AI Integration and Management Lifecycle SOP. And it really breaks down the whole process of adopting AI into these manageable steps.
Yeah.
So everything from figuring out where AI can actually help you to making sure that you are using it ethically, he's got you covered.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what sets this book apart, I think, because it's not just about, the technology itself. It's about creating this whole system for integrating AI into your organization's DNA.
Totally.
It's that's why he calls it a life cycle SOP, because it's about managing AI over the long term.
Right. And it's like having a roadmap, right?
Yes.
It takes you from okay, I think AI could help my business, all the way to, wow, AI is making everything run smoother and I'm ahead of the curve.
Yeah. It's like having, that GPS guiding you through the whole process.
Totally. And the best part, the ebook version is free. Free. So we will have instructions on how to get a copy down in the episode description.
Yeah. And if you prefer to, actually hold a physical copy, a paperback version is coming out on Amazon later this month.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So let's dive into some of the specifics.
Yeah.
Okay. So Brian, he starts with what he calls the AI identification process. Basically, before you even think about jumping into an AI project, you need to figure out what problems you are actually trying to solve.
Right.
And is AI even the right tool for the job?
Yeah. I mean, this is where a lot of organizations, they kind of stumble,
Yeah.
They get caught up in all the hype and they try to force fit AI into situations where it doesn't really belong.
Yeah, it's not a magic wand.
Exactly. And Brian, he really emphasizes the importance of just taking a step back.
Yeah.
Honestly assessing your needs and your resources before you even, dive in.
Okay, so let's say you have gone through that process. You have identified a genuine need for AI. What is next?
Well, that's where what he calls the adoption decision framework comes in. And this is where you get down to, the nitty-gritty of choosing the right AI solution.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a ton of options out there, from, simple off-the-shelf tools to those more complex custom-built systems.
Yeah.
But this framework, what it does is it helps you make a smart decision based on your specific requirements.
So it's like having a checklist to make sure the AI that you pick is the perfect fit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And one thing that really stood out to me in this section was his emphasis on having a trial phase.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you test drive the AI solution in a controlled environment before you roll it out across the whole organization.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like a test run to make sure it actually, does what it says on the tin.
Exactly. It allows you to catch any potential problems early on, whether it's technical glitches or maybe the AI just isn't integrating well with your existing systems. Much easier to fix those things in a small-scale trial than after you have already implemented it everywhere.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Okay, so you have identified the need.
Yeah.
You have chosen your AI solution.
Yeah.
You've done your trial run, and it's all good. What happens next?
Well, that's where you move into what he calls the implementation process. And Brian, he breaks it down into these really clear steps. He covers everything from planning and data preparation to training your team, documenting the whole process. It's really comprehensive.
He doesn't miss a beat.
No, not at all. And what's really helpful is that he provides these templates and checklists that you can actually use.
Oh, nice.
So it's like he is holding your hand through the entire implementation process.
Love that. And that brings us back to like why this book is just so valuable for any organization, right?
Yes.
Regardless of your size, your industry, he gives you this proven framework, practical tools. You can start using it right away.
Yeah, you can. And the great thing is that like it's not just theory. It's a blueprint. It's actionable. And remember, this is expert knowledge, and it is available for free.
You don't want to miss out on that. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we are going to dive into some of the real-world examples that Brian uses to show how this AI stuff actually works in practice.
So, one of the things that I think really brings this book to life is how Brian uses all these real-world examples to show how AI is actually being used in different industries.
Oh, yeah, I loved that. It's not just this, like, theoretical stuff. It's like, here's how a bakery used AI to streamline their orders, or here's how a clinic is using AI to organize patient records.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just big companies either. He talks about, how even small businesses can benefit from AI. For example, he mentions this bakery, right, that was having a hard time keeping up with all their orders, especially during, peak seasons. They were using this, manual paper-based system, and it was, super prone to errors.
Oh, I can only imagine the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And delays. And so they thought, hey, maybe AI can help us,
So how did they use AI to fix that?
So they implemented this AI-powered system that could automatically track orders, manage inventory, and even predict future demand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this freed up the bakery staff to focus on what they do best, which is baking those delicious treats.
Right. So it's like they took all of those tedious, time-consuming tasks and just handed them over to the AI.
Yeah. Exactly. And it made a huge difference for their business, a significant increase in efficiency.
You bet.
And a decrease in errors. And plus, they were able to, better serve their customers by providing more accurate delivery times. They could even offer, personalized recommendations.
Oh, that's cool. So it's not even just, improving operations, but it's, actually enhancing the customer experience as well.
Absolutely. And he talks about another example in the healthcare industry where this clinic was having a really tough time managing all of their patient files.
Yeah.
It was just this mountain of paperwork, and it would take them forever to find anything. They were really worried about errors and even potential privacy breaches.
That sounds like a nightmare. So how do they use AI to solve that problem?
Well, they implemented an AI-powered system that could digitize and organize all their patient records. And then the AI could, search through those records in seconds and pull up exactly the information they needed.
So it's like having this, incredibly efficient, super organized assistant who can just pull anything out of the hat, basically.
Exactly. And because the system was, secure and complied with all the relevant privacy regulations, they could rest assured that their patients' data was, safe and sound.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay, so we've seen how AI can help a bakery in a clinic. What about other industries? Does he have any examples of how AI is being used in, manufacturing maybe, or mining?
He does. He talks about this mining company that was facing a lot of challenges with equipment failures. And these failures were causing, costly downtime and safety risks. So they decided to implement an AI-powered system that could, analyze data from their equipment sensors to predict, get this, potential failures before they even happened.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
So it's like they could proactively address these issues before they became huge problems.
Exactly. This predictive maintenance approach not only saved them money, but it also improved the safety of their operations. So it's a great example of how AI can be used to make industrial processes more efficient and more reliable.
I love how diverse these examples are. It just really goes to show how AI can be applied in almost any field.
It really can. It really is. The sky's the limit. And it ties back to, what we were saying earlier about how Brian makes AI so accessible. He doesn't just, talk about these abstract concepts. He actually shows you how AI is being used in these real world situations that you can relate to.
It's like, if a bakery can use AI, you can too.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important point, which is that Brian doesn't just, focus on the technical aspects of AI.
Right.
He also emphasizes the human side of the equation.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He talks a lot about, the importance of training your team, getting buy-in from stakeholders, and managing the cultural changes that come with adopting AI.
Yeah. He stresses the need for, clear communication, ongoing support, and willingness to just, adapt as you learn and grow. It's not just about plugging in any technology. It's about integrating AI into your organization's culture, their workflow.
It's a people process as much as it is a technology process.
Exactly, exactly. And that's something that he, covers extensively in the book. He gives you guidance on how to build an AI-ready team, how to address concerns and resistance, and how to foster a culture of collaboration between, humans and machines.
Sounds like he's really thought of everything.
He really has. And remember, this is all laid out in this clear, concise, easy to understand way. He even includes checklists and templates that you can adapt to your specific needs.
It's amazing. It's like he's just giving you a toolkit for success.
He is. He is. And speaking of toolkits, he dedicates a whole section to what he calls contingency planning.
Oh, right. Yeah. He talks about the importance of having a backup plan, just in case something goes wrong with the AI system.
Exactly. No technology is perfect, and AI is no exception. So, Brian, he encourages you to think about potential risks and have a plan in place to mitigate them. For example, what happens if the AI system crashes?
Right.
What if it produces, inaccurate results? Yeah. What's your fallback option? You got to have a plan B.
Right. It's like, an insurance policy for your AI investment.
Exactly. Exactly. And he doesn't just talk about technical failures.
Yeah.
He also addresses potential, ethical concerns, like bias in algorithms or data privacy issues.
Right. So he's really encouraging you to think through all the possible scenarios and just be prepared for anything.
Absolutely. Approach AI implementation with both enthusiasm and a healthy dose of caution.
Yeah.
It's about balancing the potential benefits with the potential risks.
Right. And that's something I really appreciated about his approach.
Yeah.
Is that he's not just a cheerleader for AI. He's like a pragmatic guide.
Yeah.
He helps you navigate the complexities of this incredibly powerful technology.
Yeah. It's real world advice from someone who's, been there and done that. And that's why I think this book is so valuable. It's not about the hype.
Right.
It's about the reality. It's about the reality of integrating AI into your organization in a way that's both effective and responsible.
Awesome. So, you know what? We've covered a lot of ground already, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of what this book has to offer.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much more we could explore. He talks about the importance of ongoing monitoring and evaluation to the ethical considerations of AI in the workplace. Those are big topics.
Yeah, huge. And I think those are things that we should dive into a little bit deeper. Why don't we take a break and then come back and keep going with this deep dive?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So we talked about, identifying the need for AI, choosing the right solution, implementing it effectively, and even having a backup plan. What else does Brian cover in this book?
Well, he really stresses that, implementing AI, it's not a one-time thing.
Right.
It's an ongoing process.
Okay.
Calls it continuous improvement. You need to constantly monitor how the AI is performing.
Okay.
Gather feedback from your team and be ready to, make adjustments along the way.
So it's not like you just set it and forget it. You need to stay actively involved.
Exactly. Yeah, because, the AI landscape is constantly evolving. New technologies are emerging and your organization's needs, well, they might change over time.
Right.
So you need to be adaptable and willing to tweak your AI systems as you go.
So this is where having a solid understanding of that AI lifecycle really pays off.
Oh, absolutely. It helps you anticipate potential challenges, make informed decisions, and just ensure that your AI initiatives continue to deliver value over the long term.
Now, we touched on ethics a bit, but Brian dedicates a whole section to ethical and legal considerations, right?
He does, yeah. And this is where things get really interesting, I think, because he goes beyond just basic compliance with regulations.
Okay.
He talks about building ethical considerations into every stage of the AI life cycle.
Can you give us an example of what that looks like in practice?
Sure. So, for example, when you are choosing an AI solution, he encourages you to consider not just its functionality, but also its potential impact on, things like fairness and bias.
Right.
And he actually provides guidance on how to identify and mitigate bias in algorithms and data sets.
That's so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we've all heard those stories about, AI systems that end up perpetuating existing biases. And that can have really serious consequences.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he also talks about data privacy, making sure you're handling sensitive information responsibly, transparently, complying with all the relevant regulations.
So it's not just about like avoiding legal trouble. It's about doing the right thing,
Yeah,
even when it's difficult.
exactly. He really emphasizes that, responsible AI use it. It's about more than just checking boxes.
Yeah.
It's about building trust with your employees, your customers, and the wider community.
It's about the big picture.
It is.
I think what I find really inspiring about this book is that Brian seems genuinely passionate about making AI a force for good in the world.
I agree. It's clear that he believes in the power of AI to solve problems, improve lives, and just create a better future. And he wants to empower everyone to participate in that journey.
And that brings us back to like the accessibility of this book. It's not just for like tech experts or data scientists.
No, not at all. It's written for anyone who wants to understand AI and its potential impact, regardless of their technical background. Like, he uses clear language, avoids jargon, and, provides plenty of real-world examples to illustrate his points.
And remember, you can get the ebook version for free. We'll have a link down in the episode description. You really don't want to miss out on this opportunity to learn from, one of the leading thinkers in this whole field of AI integration.
Absolutely. It's an incredible resource, and it's available to everyone. That's something we really wanted to emphasize.
Awesome. So before we wrap up, is there like one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listeners with today?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI, it's no longer this futuristic concept. It's here, it's now, and it's transforming like every industry imaginable. And this book, it gives you the knowledge and the tools you need to not just survive in this new landscape, but to actually thrive.
I love that. So instead of being like, afraid of AI or feeling overwhelmed by it, we should embrace it. We should learn how to use it to our advantage.
Exactly. This book is your guide to doing just that.
I love it. That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI integration. We hope you found it insightful. And don't forget to grab your free copy of Brian Matambo's book. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.